What on earth is going on at Israel Premier Tech? Team Q36.5 are about to get a new title sponsor and a new bike. Has Jonas Vingegaard given up on the 2026 Tour de France already? Are the UK about to close a tax loophole that allows people to buy cheaper bikes? Welcome to the Ride and Thrive podcast with me, your host, Dave Shields. Got a bit to get through this week with this episode of what's going on in the world of cycling this week. So we're going to start off with that lead story of Israel Premier Tech. Now, they have had a bit of a torrid time this year. They've been dogged by protests and demonstrations about the ongoing Israel occupation of Gaza. A lot of people not happy about that, you know. So they've races that they've attended, there's been demonstrations, and most notably in the Vuelta this year, though they had to cut a few stages short just through the rider safety concerns, really, for riders and spectators as well. So anyway, these demonstrations, they even forced them to ban Israel Premier Tech from appearing in one of the races towards the end of the season. So anyway, they have addressed this, Israel Premier Tech. They said that they were going to drop the Israel part of their name and basically rebrand to a new identity. Now, the owner of Israel Premier Tech is Israeli-Canadian. He's a property businessman. So he's got plenty of money, but I think they just want to just change maybe the identity and come out under a new banner, with different values and stuff like that. However, after they mentioned this, the title sponsor Premier Tech, which is a Canadian company, they've dropped the sponsorship and basically said, well, it's not quite aligning with our brand values being part of this team. So I don't think we're gonna continue our partnership through 2026. So what that's meant is it's left them basically sponsorless, titleless and nameless. So now they have said that they are going to continue with business as usual. So we're kind of watch this space. They are looking for a new sponsor, and there are rumours that they have applied for a Swiss license. So it's maybe thinking that a Swiss-based company is going to come forward and sponsor the team for 2026. But they have got a deadline. I can't remember the exact date, sometime in December, that they have got to put this forward for them to be considered for the 2026 season under the UCI rules. So they'll have to do this pretty sharpish if they are going to get something together. Now, this has obviously left a lot of unrest in the team itself and some of the riders. I mean, Derek G, he's left the team and he basically said, I don't want to be part of the team really moving forward. He's a Canadian rider. He wasn't happy with the links and stuff. So he's left. Now, he was contracted until 2028. So they've basically said that he's in breach of contract. So there's a lawsuit going on at the moment where they've sued Derek G over a breach of contract, saying that actually he's left for no real reason. So that's ongoing as well. So maybe a few of the riders are feeling a little bit unsettled, but we'll wait and see. Now, the one thing is for sure that the owner, the property billionaire, has got plenty of money. So we should be able to see this fixed, get a new sponsor in place, a new name, and maybe see them rebrand under a different name. So we'll look forward to that for the future. Okay, so on to the next story then, which is Team Q36.5, a bit of a funny name. Now, they are a cycling clothing brand manufacturer, so they own a pro team. Now, they rode Scott bikes in this year, and they've acquired a star rider in the form of Tom Pidcock. Now, they poached him from Team Ineos, so he's gone there. And Tom Pidcock, he rode Pinarello bikes at Ineos, and he did like them. So he's come to Team Q36.5, and he was riding the Scott bikes. However, he's a bit of an all-rounder, and he he rides in cyclocross, gravel racing, and bit of mountain, dabbles in a bit of mountain biking as well. And in those particular disciplines, he's continued his partnership himself with Pinarello. Now, using his influence or whatever with the brand, he has managed to get Pinarello to come to Team Q36.5 to provide their bikes, which I think is quite an exciting move, and I'm gonna be excited to see how this moves forward. And I think at time of writing, they're actually going to be a title sponsor. Now, I'm not sure on this. I've seen a little bit of news around this, so this needs to be clarified. But if that's the case, there will be Pinarello Q36.5 as that would be their team name, or Q36.5 Pinarello, whichever way around they go for. So that will be interesting to see which way that goes. But I'm sure there'll be some great collaborations, bike colours and brand colours for the kit. So that's quite an exciting thing to look forward to. And I love Pinarello as a brand. I always think, it's like a Ferrari, the Ferrari of the bike, the bike world. So lots of flair goes into the design of their bikes. So that's a good thing to look forward to. Okay, next up then, a story that I saw about Jonas Vingegaard, the Team Visma Lease bike rider, who's won the Tour de France a couple of times. He has been overshadowed last couple of years by Tadej Pogačar. Now, he's said in a recent interview, he recently won a criterium at the end of the year, like an exhibition race, and they were interviewing him afterwards. And he hasn't won the Giro yet, the Giro d'Italia, and he's going to put his focus into that next year, because he's won the Vuelta and the Tour de France. So this will complete the trifecta, if you like. So he'll have won all 3 Grand Tours. And it's something that he says he does want to do, more so than winning the Tour de France again. So we might see him put all his energies to winning the Giro, and I think he still has signed up to the Tour de France. So he might end up doing both races next year. But and he could use the Giro as a launching pad for the Tour de France. But it's a bit of a gamble, and we'll see how that pans out. But it might be that he puts all his efforts into the Giro, and then maybe concedes a bit into the Tour de France, that he's won't be as fully fit for that. But we don't know. It might depend on his training. He might be able to do both and give his all in his both. And I'm sure if he does ride the Tour de France, he will give it his all. But he is prepared to share his fitness out a bit, I guess, and try to win the Giro as a priority, if you like. So we'll watch out for that one next year. I do wish him well. I do like him as a person as well as a rider. And I think any other time other than the Tadej Pogačar time, he would be dominating right now. But I do believe that having Tadej Pogačar around is good for other riders, because it will lead them to giving their best performances. So we are seeing the best of Jonas Vingegaard, which I think is due to the greatness of Tadej Pogačar is bringing that out in him as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Now, finally, I've got a story about the UK bike scene, and we have something over here called the Bike to Work scheme, which is a salary sacrifice. So you can basically get a new bike, a brand new bike, and if you're to cycle to work with, basically, this is a scheme to try and encourage people to use greener transport, and buy a bike really cheap, tax breaks for it. And you pay directly from your salary, basically. So it gets deducted from your salary. So you get a really good tax break, and you get a £2,000 bike for about £1,000. Nearly half price, something like that. It's a really, really good discounts on them. And I thought this was a really good scheme. Now, it first came out, I think it had a limit on it, a cap of how much your bike could be, and I think it was £1,000. So you could spend up to £1,000, and that you'd get that as a salary sacrifice. But then they changed it. I think they they lifted the cap on it, or they took it off altogether. So you could do this for any amount of price on bikes. And what they've turned around and said is, instead of, they think the scheme is now being used, instead of people turning to greener technology and more environmentally friendly technology and cycling to work, they're actually using it to, or rich people are using it as a tax break to buy really cheap top-end bikes for their leisure. So the government are unhappy that rich people are using this scheme to fund their expensive hobby, if you like. So I'm a bit torn on this story. I agree that that's maybe the case, but if it's more people buying bikes, I think that's a good thing, and it's really hard to have to try and have like an environmental scheme and then say, actually, this only applies to poor people. Only if you don't earn so much money can you be environmentally friendly. If you've got loads of money, you're gonna have to to pay top end or whatever. So I agree in one sense that yes, if you've got extra money, but if you're going to roll out a scheme for a certain reason, then you should stick to that. The whole way and be committed to it. So I don't think they're going to get rid of the scheme altogether, but I think they're going to put a cap back on it again. So we're going to watch out for this when they announce this, the government, to see what happens with this, because I think that what I've seen is they might reduce it down to maybe 2,000, cap it at £2,000 or £3,000. I don't know, and or whether they're going to extend it to e-bikes as well or not, because apparently e-bikes at the moment are included in it, so you can spend a lot of money on e-bikes. Now again, I don't know, we'll see where it goes, but I'll be interested to see how it pans out, this story. Right, that's it for now, for this week. More stories coming up next week. Watch out on the Ride and Thrive podcast for more info around cycling and health and longevity. Lots of different content coming up in the future. And if you're watching, thanks for watching this on video. Please do subscribe, give me a like. That would be great. It helps to give me some motivation to make more videos. And I do love it when people get engaged with the channel and comment and stuff. Please, make comments about any of the stories you've heard today. And other than that, guys, keep cycling. I'll see you out on the road. That's me clipping out. Bye for now.